the Garden, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that you might see in your garden that's happening this time of year, and that is some damage on our boxwoods. So today I wanted to look at our boxwoods. As you can tell, it doesn't take a trained eye to see that something is going wrong with them. Now, what this is winter damage. Obviously here in Oklahoma we can get extreme temperatures. Today it's actually not so bad, but we know tomorrow the temperature can drop dramatically. As we go into those winter months and continue through the winter season, it can really vary, and that can be problematic, especially on our broadleaf evergreens. And so boxwoods, one of the things that makes them more susceptible to winter damage is the fact that those leaves are a little bit wider, creating more surface area and more exposure to those drying winds. We all know here in Oklahoma we get really strong winds, and also the humidity can get low, especially during those winter months. And so what happens is it really kind of draws the water out of those plants. Now, we've ensured that we have moisture in our soil, and you want to periodically do that. If we haven't received an inch of rainfall through those winter months, you want to make sure you're at least applying a little bit of moisture, about 1 inch per month. So the thing is we just had some really cold temperatures that our plants weren't acclimated to just quite yet. So what's happened is you can see some of this foliage has actually died where it's got this yellowing, and some of it's just kind of been reacting to those colder temperatures. So we've got some kind of this orange or bronzing that's affecting our vegetation here. Now, this orange is still alive, it's fine, and if you look down into the heart of the plant, you'll notice that it is green. So that's the good sign there, is we have not lost our plant. It's just this kind of exterior that has really been affected by those cooler temperatures. So we know our plant is going to be okay. Now, this is really the reason why you don't want to plant broadleaf evergreens in fall, because they are more susceptible to winter damage than, say, some of your narrow-leafed evergreens like your pines or your junipers. So the best time to plant broadleaf evergreens is in spring. These have been here for about a year, so you know they are still fairly new and getting acclimated and getting rooted in. The other thing is ours is slightly elevated, so they're a little bit more exposed to some of those cold temperatures around their roots as well, which probably doesn't help the situation. But we know our plants are going to be okay. So what do we need to do going forward? If you are seeing winter damage on your plants, don't do anything to the plant just yet. We will talk about pruning them and how to manage this foliage as we go into spring around March, when we start to see some new growth coming out. The one thing you want to do is protect it from any further damage, as we know that we can still suffer some colder temperatures in February. So looking at some of your options, one of the things you might want to do is consider adding more mulch around the root base to protect them. The other thing is, if you know, like I said, today it's a nice day, but in a couple of days we know we're going to get some chillier temperatures, so you might want to protect that foliage and that vegetation. And a couple of ways of doing that is, one, just a freeze cloth, which is kind of a spun material, and just cover that vegetation. Now, you don't want to put this on in winter and then leave it for several months, because obviously that's not healthy. The plant needs to photosynthesize. So just put it on as we experience those really cool temperatures. If you don't have freeze cloth, you can also use a cotton sheet or even burlap. That will help. Now, a lot of times people talk about using plastic. If you just have, say, one boxwood, go ahead, put a plastic bucket on it. However, if you have several like what we have, you might be thinking about using plastic sheeting. If you're using plastic, just be aware, try to keep the plastic actually off of the foliage, because if you've ever touched plastic in the wintertime, it can get really cold. And so that can actually do more damage to the foliage if that plastic is touching the vegetation and the foliage. So it's preferable not to use plastic and to use something like this frost blanket or burlap, and then also mulch heavily around the base of those plants. So we will check back in March on our boxwoods and continue on talking about what to do about freeze damage on our boxwoods.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.